Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I've been with my wife for the past 6 years. I truly love her. She was everything to me, my top priority in life. Every decision I made, every plan for the future, revolved around her and our life together. I thought we had a strong, loving marriage. But 3 months ago, my world turned upside down. One evening, my wife sat me down, and I could tell something was off. Her expression was serious, and her voice trembled slightly. She confessed that she'd been having an affair with a coworker for the past 8 months. She admitted that she had fallen out of love with me and wanted a divorce. The words hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt as if the ground had been pulled out from under me. In that moment, it was like the woman I loved had become a stranger. Despite the shock and heartbreak, we both decided to approach the situation rationally. We agreed to have an amicable divorce. Thankfully, we had a prenuptial agreement, so there would be no messy disputes over alimony or asset division. The terms were clear. No matter what the reason for the divorce, neither of us would be entitled to any financial support from the other, and we would keep our own assets. It seemed like a straightforward path, at least legally. However, emotionally, I was devastated. I had loved this woman with all my heart, and now she was telling me she had been with another man for months. The betrayal was a wound that cut deep. I sank into a deep depression. I started going to counseling, but I found myself spiraling. I began drinking heavily, trying to numb the pain and confusion. I felt lost and alone, even in my own home. Then, about 10 days ago, in a moment of weakness and overwhelming emotion, I made a mistake. I got far too drunk. My emotions took over, and I let my anger and hurt get the best of me. In a drunken haze, I sent a message in our group chat with friends and family. Up until that point, everyone thought we were divorcing because things just weren't working out between us. They had no idea about the affair. But in that moment, I spilled everything. I revealed how my wife had betrayed me, how she had been unfaithful, and how she wanted to keep it all under wraps. Somehow, word got back to her workplace. I don't know how it spread so quickly, but it did. The office was buzzing with the news, and because of all the drama, both my wife and her lover were fired. Now she's furious with me. She says I ruined her career and humiliated her in front of everyone. She accuses me of not sticking to our agreement, of being impulsive and reckless. I told her she was the one who ruined everything by cheating on me. It turned into a heated argument. She threatened to take me to court, and in my frustration, I shot back, "Go ahead, but you better find a new job first." I know my response only made things worse. Her family and friends are all blaming me now. They say I ruined her life because I couldn't handle the fact that she was leaving me. They call me a pathetic man, saying I destroyed everything out of spite. The guilt and anger are eating away at me. The only person who has shown me any sympathy is her cousin. We've always been close, even before I married my wife. She's been like a sister to me. She's the only one who checks on me regularly, offering comfort when I break down. I've confided in her, telling her how much I pray that her boyfriend will be loyal to her and never cause her the pain I'm going through. I've told her I'd always be there for her if she ever needed anything. Now, I'm left questioning myself. Did I go too far? Was I wrong for not sticking to the agreement we made? Am I the a-hole for letting my emotions get the best of me and revealing the truth about the affair? I'm torn between feeling justified in my actions and the overwhelming guilt of what has happened since. She made her bed. Now she has to lie in it. She was the one who cheated and broke the trust. OP just exposed the truth. Maybe it wasn't the best way to handle it, but sometimes people need to face the consequences of their actions. Not the a-hole. She cheated on you and expected you just to suck it up and keep quiet entirely for her benefit? I don't think I'd have agreed to that in the first place. The fact is that even though you broke this one-sided agreement, you did so because of the emotional state her actions put you in. It doesn't matter what her family thinks of you. They are always going to take her side, but they are no longer a part of your life you have to take into account. Not the a-hole. She cheated on you for 8 months and then manipulated you into staying quiet. She lied and betrayed you for 8 months, yet thinks she is the victim because people found out who she truly is. She does not care about the harm and trauma she caused you, because cheaters like her are selfish narcissists who see nothing wrong with their aggressive behavior. Her family has enabled her narcissism. She manipulated you into thinking it was an amicable divorce, when you're the person she traumatized and betrayed. She made vows to be faithful to you, and went back on those vows of fidelity. You told the truth while she was lying to everyone. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She is solely and exclusively responsible for everything that is happening in her life. She broke her vows of loyalty and fidelity, and it's very audacious of her to think that you should hide the crappy person she is. Forget her friends and family, block everyone, and go heal yourself. So, a bit of background. We are from Algeria, and we come from a rather big family. My granddad, from my father, built different houses when things were rather cheap, and all my uncles live there today. When my grandmother passed away, my dad inherited the house apartment which is situated on the second floor of my uncle's house. It is very spacious and enough for a family of 5. My uncle, who lives in the first floor, has always tried to push my dad to let him have the second floor too, because we live in Europe throughout the year and only go to Algeria on holidays. But this will never happen. My dad has worked his butt off to pay for all renovations in this house. New kitchen, new bedrooms, new living room, AC for the whole house. It is dang hot in summer. Even remodeled the house for a 3rd floor, and all was paid with his money. Once one of my nieces got married and asked my dad if she could stay at our home until they got their apartment ready to move in. He agreed and did not accept any payment. This was a mistake. She lived there for 2 years and did not want to move because the apartment was too small for her. They were only a family of 3. Their excuse? Well, you don't live here anymore and only come on holidays, so why shouldn't you let us live here? He was pissed. My dad had to go to our house and throw them out. He had to repair a lot of damaged stuff, and they did not want to repay them. So he had to invest money again, but this time he went all the way. New door, double glass windows, alarm system. He finished the 3rd floor and put a veranda so we could do barbecues. Toilet and shower separated, and a bunch of more crap. We went to our home on holiday after it was finished, and I gotta say, it wasn't the house I grew up in when I was 4. So we come back to Europe on time for school, and after half a year, my dad received a call from different family members questioning if they could live temporarily in our house. We all know how it went in the past, and declined every one of them. Then, a call from the uncle who lives in the 1st floor. He wanted that his son lived in our house because he did not live there, and he wanted him out of his house because he was 23. Well, he got mad because he got a no for an answer. Then went with, "I took care of mom when you went to work in Europe and lived there because your sons went to school there." Well, guess what? My dad was the one sending money to my mother and paying all her bills. My uncle only went to my mom when he needed money because his incompetent butt did not want to work. And the list of family members who felt entitled to our home because we did not live there goes on and on. Moral of the story: I learned that a bunch of my family are greedy as duck, and they'd rather take from you than work for it. Good for your parents. They inherited the property. Therefore, it's theirs to use or not use however they see fit. It's none of any of your other family's business when or how much the property is used. So, I'll just get right into it. When I was 15, I got a girl pregnant. It was both of our fault. We were both rebellious, frequented parties we were not supposed to be at, and got drunk, and did the deed a few times. Well, when she found out she was pregnant, she pretty much demanded I'd marry her. However, I declined, given we literally didn't know each other, aside from the times we hooked up. And this is what set a huge amount of bad blood between me, her, and her family. Despite not being willing to marry her, I did commit to being a dad. After all, it was my fault, and I wanted to make sure my daughter lacked nothing. I was active in her life, paid child support, and a bunch of extras. I got a job at my uncle's company, studied my butt off at school, and pretty much had no social life anymore. Her mother, however, was vastly different. She had her parents take care of our daughter and would still go to parties constantly, barely pay attention to her, and so forth. Well, this carried on till my daughter was about 10, which is where she started saying very strange things about me. Daddy doesn't care about me, That sort of stuff. A typical case of one parent using their influence to wreck their child's relationship with the other parent. I kept assuring her this was not the case, talked to her mother about it a lot. However, she would deny everything. And after several months of this, I even took the legal route in order to get primary custody. I lost, as was to be expected. From here, it rapidly went downhill. As my daughter got older, the stuff her mom told her about me slowly morphed into a full-blown hatred of me. She would no longer want to be around me, visit me, talk to me, etc. She only wanted my money, as at this point I was making considerably more than her mother. However, at 16, she full-on cut contact with me after calling me every name in the book. She was allowed to do that after 14. I slipped into a depression as a result, barely held on to my job, tried to reach out to her in whatever way that I could and so forth, but it was to no avail. After the 50th time of trying to contact her when she had turned 20, I received a wall of text which boiled down to, "Never contact me again, you D-bag." To this day, I still have no idea what I even did, and I don't think she does either. Anyways, I got blocked on everything I could use to contact her. It took me several more months to come to the realization I had lost my daughter, but that is what happened. I got help for my depression, eventually entered a new relationship, fell in love, got married, and me and my wife now have 2 boys and a girl of our own, and I have never been happier. It feels like I got a second chance at life. Well, I am 53 now. My wife is 44. My boys are 15 and 13, and my girl is 12. And this is where my first daughter comes in. She is 38 now, and after what has been 22 years since I last saw her, and 18 years since the last message I got from her, she showed up on my doorstep with 2 kids and an adult man 2 days ago. At first, I did not even recognize her. It was only when I heard her voice that I realized who she was. She started saying how she had nowhere to go. Her husband apparently kicked her out. Her mother didn't speak to her or her brother anymore. Most of her family was no longer alive, and she had no money to speak of, and she needed somewhere to stay during these times. Well, my mind started racing. My first instinct was to let her in, but I rejected it and looked at her for a while almost in sheer amazement of finally seeing her again and asking to live with someone you pretty much ditched 22 years ago. I said no. After all, this time it was too late to speak to me again, let alone ask to live in my house with my family. I told her, and what I assumed to be her brother, to get out of here after giving them a few hundred to rent a place or something, and after some yelling at me, that was the end of it. I am still unable to wrap my head around this situation. It's like I feel completely emotionless. I literally can't describe how I felt. After telling my wife about it, she told me I did what I thought was best. But I am not sure I did what was best, or even what I thought was best. I just didn't know what to do, and I still don't. I am also not sure how I even feel about this. I think you protected your family from an unwelcome influence. Sounds to me like your adult daughter saw you as the last resort, and came to you not to build a relationship, but because she wanted something. However, now that you've given her money, I expect she'll be hounding you forever. For the sake of simplicity, let's call them Josh and Jenny. We're all Asians living in Asia. My relationship with Jenny was really good. She's been dating Josh for 6 years. He proposed to her 8 months ago. He finally introduced her to our extended family today at the Lunar New Year celebration. Our extended family is big. My grandparents have 8 children, and all of them have their own family. We got together every year at this celebration where everyone eats, drinks, and has fun together. Since she wasn't going back to her hometown due to virus situation there, Josh thought it would be a great opportunity to introduce her to our extended family, and she wouldn't have to spend the new year alone. She came pretty early before the meal, as we had a small ceremony to pay respect to our ancestors. Afterwards, my mom asked her if she could help out with the party setup. She accepted. It would be helpful to note that it is in our culture for the guests to help out. She was pretty shy at first, but quickly got along with some other people. However, she became quiet later on, didn't eat much, to the point that an aunt and uncle asked if she was doing okay, if she needed rest. I thought she was probably just tired from the interactions and new environment. I checked on her and she said she was okay. After the meal, she helped with clearing out the table. Then we headed to a coffee shop together, just the two of us, as Josh had to run some errands for my mom. There, she told me the reason she looked unhappy. It was because she was annoyed by the facts that only the women of the family are doing the work. The men were just sitting there enjoying themselves. It goes against her values, and that's why she doesn't think she can get along with our extended family. I was taken aback, but understand her points. I used to think so too, and once I even voiced it out loud to my mother quite harshly. Mom explained to me that it's just generational differences. Also, it may have looked like the men were just enjoying themselves while the women worked, but it was actually because they had already done their part. They were the ones who'd run the maintenance check on the house. We gathered at grandparents' house, which is a big old house with an even larger yard. Went to buy groceries at the demands of the aunt, who was the main cook, and fully paid for it. So basically, it's just work delegation based on traditional gender roles. My generation, we don't have to cook, so all of us, male or female, helped with the cleaning up. The females washed the dishes while the males cleared the table and mopped the floor. I explained it back to Jenny, hoping she would understand it. But no, she kept her opinion and even went as far as saying after marrying Josh, she won't come over to any of the gatherings of our extended family. It completely baffled me. So I told her that my family is very important to me. If she refused to be a part of it, I don't welcome her into our family. I respect Josh's decision to marry her, and if my parents still want her as their daughter-in-law, I'm fine with that. But to me, I don't want to have anything to do with her. She reverted the conversation to Josh. We had a long heart-to-heart conversation over the phone. He said he agreed with me that Jenny is being unreasonable. What she said is certainly upsetting, and that he would try to reason with her. He loves me and her a lot, so it would be heartbreaking for him to see us not getting along with each other. We decided that we won't bring it up to our parents until we sort it out. Of course, I don't want to see Josh get hurt, but if they get married and Jenny never shows up at family gatherings, it will hurt my aunts and uncles too. They're very excited about the wedding and can't wait to welcome Jenny into our family. I don't know what to do. Knowing Jenny, she's very confrontational and stubborn. She probably won't change her mind. Even if she does for Josh's sake, the attitude will be written all over her face, which may only make matters worse for us. I don't know what to do anymore. Edit. It seems that a lot of you don't understand why these gatherings are important to us as a big family. So let me explain. We love having big families, so it is our tradition for us to get together a few times a year to catch up with everyone, including the ones living overseas who join via video call. We all live away from each family and do meet up separately during the year. But having everyone together at our grandparents' house is an amazing experience where everyone works and enjoys the time together. All of those get-togethers are also aligned with our grandparents' death anniversary, or the Lunar New Year, when we pay respect to our ancestors. As important as those events are, Jenny not showing up will upset our parents and extended family greatly. In our culture, saying what Jenny said, knowing full well how important those days are, is considered immensely disrespectful. She definitely knows, by the way, since Josh and I brought it up many times, how proud we are of our extended family. Despite having a lot of people from 3 generations, there was close to no dramas. You can say that our grandparents raised their children well, who grew up and became great parents themselves. Edit 2. After replying to all your comments, I came to realize that you may have the wrong impression on Jenny's problem. She doesn't have any issue with the tasks given to her, but more the lack of male presence in the kitchen. And to quote her words exactly, she thinks the women of our family are being and she's not okay with that. That's why I explained to her that the work is distributed evenly, just that it's based more on traditional gender roles. No one is slacking off or being So I think that she was too quick to judge our family dynamics, but refused to let go of her ego to acknowledge it. She has a deep prejudice towards gender roles stuff, but the thing is, no one is gendering the tasks. Jenny is the one who is. I never got asked by my family to do something just because I'm female. I just help out with tasks I thought best suited for my skills and knowledge. Some of them happen to be traditionally feminine. After doing all the maintenance and yard work the day before the party, the men still helped with grocery shopping and paying for the ingredients, which are feminine. No one complained about it. All of this I have conveyed to her in our conversation, But maybe I wasn't being clear enough. This is a fascinating issue. On one hand, totally get her point. I'm a woman myself, and nothing quite rankles me like Thanksgiving, where the women do the planning, shopping, meal prep, cooking, and cleaning, while the men just sit around watching the crappy Lions lose another boring football game. If you continue to excuse it with, "It's just tradition," I'd say you were the jerk here and should consider all the extra labor, tradition be damned, because you need to look at it from a human, individual level, not some vague, "oh, we've always done this" explanation, which to me is just a poor excuse to keep crappy labor divisions alive. In this case, I would think her no-show at events like this is completely acceptable and a low-drama way to avoid the BS. However, you pointed out the men did the shopping, paid for the groceries, and participated in different facets of the cleanup. Since that is the case, I would think she'd be more understanding. I'm not sure where her issue is stemming from, if the division of labor is pretty equal. Were the chores she did disproportionately laborious, difficult, time-consuming, compared to the male ones?